The girls.
Cheers.
Ready to go?
Ready.
She's a ready. Chloe Pink. Welcome to Kanga TV.
Thanks for having me.
It's a very long time coming.
Very true. That's very true.
When we met, it's that classic like two drunk girls in a bathroom.
No, it actually was.
It was at the Best and Fairest last year. I was like, oh my God, I just love your dress. You look amazing.
Yeah.
And that was it.
That actually was the classic two drunk girls in a bar. I wasn't drunk there.
I was.
No, I was doing.
We're going to talk about North Melbourne and your journey with the club over the past couple of years, but we'll get to that a little bit later. I wanted to start off initially with you and who you are and how you fit into the North Melbourne family. You're the wife of defender Toby Pink.
Yeah.
Take me back a long, long time ago. How did you guys meet?
We grew up together. We actually don't know how we met.
Yeah.
Everyone asks us this question. We don't know how we met. We've known each other for as long as we can remember. We grew up in a small country town, regional South Australia. Played the same sports. Our families were friends. And yeah, our brothers, not our brothers, Toby was friends with my brother. So we've just known each other for as long as we can remember.
And how long into your relationship was AFL sort of started to be spoken about and sort of floated on the cards as a potential career path for Toby?
Well, as children, we were just really, really good friends. There was no, relationship kind of in the picture. So Toby always asked me to be his girlfriend and I always said no. And then he went to boarding school. We were friends. Then he went away. So things kind of like died off a bit. And then when he come back to visit, then that's when we finally started dating. He said, can you be my girlfriend, but you need to move to Sydney?
And did you be his girlfriend and move to Sydney?
I said yes, but I didn't move to Sydney for another year.
So he was at the Swans for a couple of seasons?
3.
And at what stage did you move across?
Second season, roughly.
And what was that experience like?
I was 17 at the time. So looking back, I was a little baby. It was fun. I think it was the best thing that's like ever happened to me and us. It was an experience. It wasn't hard because I don't know, I was excited. Like I was a young little girl and I didn't really have a secure job or I just finished school. Like timing was perfect. So I moved over there and I didn't move in with Toby immediately. I became a live-in nanny. So I worked for a family over there and it was so much fun. Like it was really fun and I'm glad we did it. I did that at such a young age.
I love that. And I think it's actually really nice how you guys didn't live together.
Yeah.
Initially, you could still kind of have your own independence, but be there together, experiencing this whole new world essentially together.
We've kind of always been like that. We've always been, I guess, independent, but very codependent at the same time.
His time finishes up in Sydney after 3 years. You go back to Adelaide. You don't go back to your regional hometown?
Well, no, we actually, there's a little COVID gap in there that we've never really spoken about or no one really knows about. Toby got delisted and we moved to Melbourne. So North Melbourne VFL. Toby moved to North Melbourne VFL and this was COVID year and they were speaking about picking him up mid-year. So North Melbourne wanted him back then. So we moved to Melbourne, went into COVID lockdown, didn't see anyone. Toby didn't play football for a whole year. So he got delisted at Sydney Swans, had a whole year of football off. We didn't see any family, any friends for the whole entire year. And
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was horrible. Yeah. It was horrible, especially for Toby as well. You've gone from being on an AFL list to being not good enough and then not playing football at all. And then we, as soon as the border opened, we were like, let's get out of here. Let's move to Adelaide. Because Toby played under 18s for Glenelg in South Australia. And so he just, when you haven't played football for the whole year, he kind of lost his love for football. When you get delisted, he wanted to just play for fun. So they asked if he would stay at North VFL and he just said, I need to go play football with my friends. I need to find the love for it again. So that's what we did. We moved again.
Guys are always on the road. You're just saying yes to every opportunity and off you go. He does build up his confidence. He refines his love for footy, playing for Glenelg in the Sandful. When did the discussions with North Melbourne pick up again?
He was in his 3rd year at Glenelg, and when Toby gets comfortable with a football club and the people that he's playing with, and he comes out of his shell, that's when he starts to play his best football. And so it was in his 3rd year, he'd been playing unreal football, like amazing defender as he is. And he didn't even have AFL on his radar. And his manager reached out mid-season and said, hey, there's a few clubs that have mentioned your name and are interested in you. Would you be open to that? And I think they first wanted, there was a few clubs that wanted him to do the summer train on. He was like, no, we're not moving again for a train on. Like, I'll come if, this is early on. This is early conversations. He's like, he'll do it if it's worth it. But he really wanted commitment rather than having to move for 3 months and then having to move back.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's huge. And then, so that was early on in early mid-season. And then obviously for the next 6 months, the conversations ramped up. And there was a few different football clubs. And so, yeah, for probably most of his 3rd season, we had a lot of conversations with his manager, just all on the down low. So
you make the decision to go for it.
Yeah.
He gets drafted to North.
Yeah.
You guys move here at the end of 2023.
Yeah.
You know what you're walking into, the life of a footballer and the lifestyle and everything can change in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
How has it been like for you moving to Sydney and then moving to Melbourne, back to going to Adelaide, I should say, back to South Australia and then back to Melbourne again? How has that been for you, that sort of change and the constant pace of it?
Selfishly, it's been really hard. But at the same time, Toby's the love of my life. I'm just so proud of him that I would do, when you love someone so much, you would do anything for them. So at the same time, it's very easy. Like, you do it without, or I do it without question. Like, there is no question whether I'm doing it or not. I might internally be hesitant and I might internally or externally say, I do not want to go. But at the same time, I'm so proud, and as a wife, that's all you want. You want the best. You want your partner to succeed. So whatever comes with that is just a bypass of that success. So it's been really, I'm not gonna lie, it's been challenging. Like, the move originally to Sydney was fine, but moving from Sydney to Melbourne was really hard because you go somewhere for 3 years, you finally settle in, you find your friends, you get comfortable, and then it's, we have to move again. And moving's hard enough, let alone moving interstate, let alone moving jobs. And so I found I would get comfortable in a job, start building up my resume, and then I have to move again. And it was so hard explaining that to employers that I am not just job hopping for the sake of it. But yeah, when we moved from Adelaide to Melbourne, was probably our hardest move for me personally, because I lived in Melbourne for the COVID year and it sucked. And I promised Toby, I swore, I'm like, we're never moving back. I don't care what it's for. We are never moving back to Melbourne. And I really hated Melbourne. And so then when I found out that we were coming to Melbourne, there was a little bit of resentment brewing. But for the first 3 months that I moved to Melbourne, I think I cried every day.
Oh my
God.
God.
Because I had to leave a job that I loved. I did not want to leave my job. I had to leave friends that I loved. I had to leave a football club that I loved. We had such a good community in Adelaide and I did not want to leave. But at the same time, I'm not saying that to Toby. At the same time, I'm like, yes, I'm so excited because it's such a good opportunity and he's worked so hard and he deserves it. And like I said, when it's someone you love, you want the best for them. And if he's happy and that's the best for him, we're happy and I'm happy. And so once we're settled after 3 months, it was the best move we've had.
You moved to Melbourne end of 2023. Toby goes through the whole off-season and pre-season leading into 2024 and he is picked to play round 1 against the Giants in Sydney. And I think it's fair to say that the first year that Toby was at the club, internally it might have been okay, but externally, while he was a somewhat cult figure for fans. I think there were other fans that maybe were questioning his position in the side. He was unsettled, he played defence, and then he went forward. He was in and out of the side a little bit, sort of as the team needed.
Yeah.
What was the backlash and the criticism like on you and then on the two of you as a couple?
Yeah. For me, initially, I found it hard, but Toby is really, really good at ignoring everything on the outside. He knows what's in the four walls, and I guess the only criticism he is listening to is anything that comes in from the four walls. And to be honest, that first year there was not much. He was doing his role. He at the same time, from the criticism on the outside, supporters are supporters. You can analyse a game and you can support a game, but you're called a supporter for a reason. So if you're criticising to an extent that's not helpful, like Toby's not going to read that and take your advice. Toby's going to go into the football club, listen to what his coaches say, take their advice. So Toby's really good at blocking out the outside noise. He appreciates it as supporters, and he loves the support, and he loves his fan base, and he is so forever grateful for that. But he's not going to take criticism from anyone that's outside of the four walls.
Yeah, and I think as well, it's so we all love the game and we're all so passionate about it, and criticism is a big part of the game, but it's just the way you go about it.
Correct. There's a difference between criticising and analysing, and then there's a difference between dragging down players and tearing down players. And no matter like what you say, for example, if you wrote a really nice, like that player's shit online and a player reads that, you're not helping them be better. AFL is a mental game. If you're at AFL, most of it's, you've got the skill set. It's a mind game. So if you're tearing down a player, it's not helping their confidence. It's not helping them get better. It's not helping them at all. So I'm really big on you just need to support. Like, you can analyse a game. I love analysing a game. I'm the biggest one for analysing the football. I know every in and out. I know every play. I know every player. Like, I'm not going to lie. I love the football. But there's a difference between analysing a game and inappropriately criticising a game.
And it probably wouldn't have helped at the end of 24. Toby sat down and the club delists him. However, they recommit to drafting him as a rookie ahead of season 2025. How was the news when you first heard it, and what work did Toby put in to ensure that he actually was going to be re-rookied?
Well, that was kind of a given. Toby is a very selfless person and a very selfless player. You can tell that on the football field. He's not going out to play for himself, and that's the kind of player he is. He plays his role, and I guess that's probably why sometimes he gets criticised, because people don't see that. Like, sometimes players are given a role and they go and do that. So Toby's a very selfless player. The club rang him and said, would you be open to Toby had a contract. Toby didn't need to say yes. Toby could have confidently said, no, thank you, I'm not interested, easily, and had a contract and been fine with that. But they rang and they said, we really want another draft pick. And Toby's like, yeah, of course, if it helps the club. Toby didn't think twice about it. We didn't think twice. It didn't impact us at all. And I think also the club's mindset was, you've been delisted before. You don't have an ego to hurt. Like, you are so... They knew what Toby was like. They knew Toby's person. They could have said that to anyone. They knew that Toby's, I guess, ego could take it. He doesn't need validation from a rookie or a listed player. He doesn't need that. If he's playing, doing his role, if the coaches are happy with him, if the club's happy with him, that's all he needs. Like, he doesn't need any external validation for what he's doing. And so when the club asked him to do that, he was more than happy to do that. He would do anything for that football club. So, it wasn't... We didn't even think twice about it. It wasn't an issue. We knew that he still had a contract. And even if they didn't pick him up, they had to pay him out his contract, and I'm sure someone else would have picked him up. So, he backs the football club. The football club backed him. So
I think it's fair to say that what you were saying earlier about the more he's in an environment, the more comfortable he becomes and the better footy he plays, because his form in season 2025 has been absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I think it was disappointing. He came into the side, I think it was round 1 or 2, and then he was dropped.
Yeah.
that probably shouldn't have happened.
No.
How did you guys take that initially? I know he's very selfless, but there will be a point where he's like, okay, well, this is not fair.
I think Toby's probably biggest trait is resilience. If you, I'm sure you would have picked that up by the amount of times we moved and the amount of times he's been told he's not good enough and he still keeps persisting. It probably hurts me more than it hurts him because I feel sad for him. And he's like, oh, who cares? That, or say if someone debuts or someone else is like, oh, it's a good opportunity for them. And I'm like, yeah, but you played so good. I don't understand.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah, correct. But Toby's like, that's okay. I'll just go play well in VFL and get picked again. He's very, I think you kind of have to have that mindset. Otherwise it will eat you alive. He's very resilient. He comes home, you're obviously flat, you're going to be flat, but it's like, that's all right, I get to play VFL, and then like it's like, oh well, I get to play with this person, or I get to do this, or I get to do that, and he takes the positives, I guess, out of any situation. So it's disheartening, but yeah, it's part of the game. You're not always going to be selected, you're not always going to be in the team, you're not always going to be performing well. It's just part of it.
It's not going to stop if the men aren't calling it out.
You had a secret wedding to your now husband, Toby.
Yeah.
And that was back in March.
Jackie from Herald Sun, she reached out to me and said, are you okay if we do an article on your wedding? It was really beautiful. And I said, of course, like that sounds lovely. The article went live. I read the comments and they were thick and fast coming in. And I just spent, I think, 3 days straight crying at home. Initially, Toby's like, no way. There's no way.
Wow.
And Toby just sat there in silence for like a good day, and he's like, I am so sorry. My wedding day was the first day where I've actually felt truly beautiful, and makes my mum's been crying all week because she's like, you looked beautiful. She said you felt beautiful.
Yeah.
And I truly did.
You looked awesome, mate. You really did.
Thank you. Even when I uploaded the photos, I didn't question if I looked fat. I didn't question if I looked ugly. I didn't question my appearance. I felt so beautiful.
To think that you could look at someone's happiest day, which is their wedding day, and focus on that part, which is your appearance. That's the bit that you want to change. But I don't know how you begin to change that.
Toby's first point was we need to teach our children better. We need to educate our sons and our daughters that we need to stop talking about people's bodies, talk about what their bodies can do, not what they look like. Another one is our grandparents. I often find, and especially with all those comments, unfortunately, it was older men, which it's the truth. It sucks. It's an uncomfortable conversation, but it was. And we just say, oh, that's who it is. That's just that generation. Yeah, but I think that's another opportunity for doing better is calling that out. Very uncomfortable. I can't imagine calling out my grandparents. Very uncomfortable, but we have to. I was having the conversation with my husband as well, and he said it's up to us men to call it out. It's not going to stop if the men aren't calling it out.
100%,
and he openly admitted, he said, I need to do better.
Yes,
I support you at home, great. But I struggle with it. We need more men, unfortunately, guys. Sorry. I need you to call it out because these women are sticking up for me, but it's not the women making the comments. So, and
fair enough.
Yeah.
Well said.
That resilience has been shared with you over the past 6 to 8 months. You guys got engaged and married during the off season, and you had faced an unimaginable amount of trolling online and just really horrible things. And we've spoken about this quite a bit over the past few months as well. How has he been supporting you through all of your journey in 2025 as well?
Yeah, he's amazing. I can't fault him. I obviously have had a really, really hard time. I feel like I obviously still get trolled, but I feel like in terms of the person that I am, I'm becoming on the upside of that. But when that initially happened, I honestly was a mess. Like, he'd come home from training, I'd be crying every day on the couch. And so if it wasn't for him, I don't know how I would have got through it. Obviously, I'm my psychologist. I know that he loves me, and I think he's really good at reassuring me, not that he even needs to. And he's just really good at being there for me. Obviously, the job that he's in is very high pressure and high demand. And then obviously all of that going on for myself is a lot for a home. It's a lot mentally. It's a big challenge. So during the thick of it, he would come home and it's exhausting. We're both exhausted. It's hard for him as well. Imagine watching your wife be bullied to that extreme. It was hard for the both of us, but he was amazing. The club was amazing. He still is amazing. He's my number one supporter, but I'm also his. So
how did the club lend their help and support?
The club were amazing. So many people at the club reached out to me, especially in the early days of the trolling and the hate and online bullying. I had Jen, Sonia, I had so many people that work at the football, in and around the football club, reach out to me all personally, as well as Toby. I have a psychologist through the club, through the AFLPA. The club, I don't know what more the club could have done. In short, they have been amazing. They still are. People still check in on me daily. Even Clarko's wife, Karen, I love her. She's beautiful. Even she checks in on me, and she doesn't have to. No one has to. We're very lucky. Yeah.
I think it speaks volumes about the club and the culture that we're building at North Melbourne. We've been on the bottom of the ladder for so long, but I think slowly we are looking at people first, players and skill sets almost secondary, to ensure that the longevity of the club's success can be sustained when we eventually can get higher up the ladder.
Can this be the game-winning chain for the Tigers? Vlauston to Smith. Smith the sub. Inside 50. Lynch threw himself out at Pink. Takes the intercept mark for the Kangas.
We have seen a little bit of success on field this season. It's probably the first time in quite a while we've had so much to smile about. In particular, that win against Richmond at the MCG.
Yes.
We have to talk about it.
Yes.
And Toby's game-saving mark. Can you talk me through what you felt from the stands, not just watching the game in its entirety, because it was probably one of the best games he's ever played for the football club, but the mark and then the euphoria at the final siren?
Oh, I don't even know. I was actually thinking, what are my favourite on-field highlights? That's obviously one of them. I'm very loud. If you know me, if you see me at the footy, very embarrassingly loud. Very loud and proud. And I think that's the loudest I've ever been. I don't actually really remember the moment. I remember the mark and I remember the aftermath. But the week after it, it was the first time where I felt like Toby actually deserved, I guess, the accolades for the work that he had been doing. All it took was that one mark for him to be noticed, and it was nice. He couldn't, he's just it was just a mark, it's just what I do every day. And I'm like, okay, Toby,
laugh it up, Toby.
But it was nice seeing and hearing people speak positive, because obviously there's so much negativity in the universe and in the football world, especially when you support North. But it was nice to see him get a bit of recognition that he deserves. And Toby's the person who needs, if you yell at him and tell him he's a really bad player, he'll think that he's a really bad player. That's internally, he doesn't care. He doesn't read comments. He doesn't read hate. He doesn't engage with all the negativity. But if he's feeling down, he's down. If he's feeling up, something like that good happens, that will bring him up. And you can tell that, but then he goes and plays Carlton and played unreal. So he needs moments like that. It's confidence. It gave him confidence, and you can see it in him.
The confidence has carried him to the point of another contract extension.
Yeah.
He'll be going around and get in 2026. What does this football club mean to you, and how are you looking forward to going around again next season?
For me, obviously, it's Toby's job, but at the same time, it's more than that. It's like our family. You come in to stay. like a lot of people do. And you spend so much time with these people and at this football club and everything. I guess it's your world. Your whole life revolves around it. Obviously, I have life outside of football as well. But my whole weekends of football, weekdays, it's all football. Everything's football. And so it becomes your family. It kind of has to. So for Toby and I, it's like our family. I'm really comfortable. I have my best friends from the football club. And Toby's now at a point where he's a bit of an introvert to start off with, but once he gets out of that, he's louder than me. And people won't believe me, but it's true. He is louder than me. So if you allow him to be loud and allow him to be himself, he gets really, really comfortable and really, really confident. And so I think going for a third season is exactly what he needed, exactly what I needed. I think he was dreading having to move to another football club. So I think he would have chose North any day. We're comfortable. It's our friends. It's our family. It's our livelihood. We're really grateful for the football club. And we know it's not forever. As you can tell, we've moved a million times over, and there's nothing worse than having to leave, I guess, that community that you have.
Well, hopefully that won't be happening anytime soon. We love having both you and Toby at our football club. It's people like you that make the place so special. And, I think that family vibe really extends beyond the four walls to the supporters and to the fans. And hopefully everyone feels like we can come together as one and together sort of see the success of the club. Chloe, thank you so much for jumping on the channel and for the chat.
Having me.
And I look forward to many and more celebrations together next year.
Same. Hopefully a premiership.
Imagine, Premier's 26. Premiership player Toby Pink has a good ring to it.
Well, yeah, he could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got his premiership third year in Glenelg, so
watch his space.
We'll see.
Thank you.